Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. My name is Hallie and I'm so happy that you're here, and welcome back to Bookmas Day 8. For today's Bookmas video, we're going to be spending the weekend together mood reading, and I'm so excited. I feel like this is going to be a really nice, just low-key, chill reading vlog. Literally just spending the next few days mood reading together, and I'm so excited. So right now it is Saturday evening. I have a little bit of editing that I need to do before I can get fully into my cozy grandma reading era today. So I wanted to really quickly just intro this vlog, talk about what I think that I'm going to be in the mood to read later tonight once I get some of my work stuff done. Basically, I'm just going to take you guys along with me throughout this weekend. I have a few things that I need to get done, and we're going to see what I would realistically just pick up to mood read throughout the course of a regular weekend, having other things to do as well. So for today, it's already Saturday afternoon. I do have a little bit of editing that I need to do for a Bookmas video that's going up tomorrow. So that is the first thing on my agenda. I need to get that fully edited and make a thumbnail for it, get it uploaded to Patreon, get everything set for when it goes up to YouTube as well. And then after that, that's all of my work stuff that I need to do today. I might try and get ahead on thumbnails and like make a couple of thumbnails as well. But other than that, that's all the work stuff that I need to get done for today. So once I finish that, I will probably end up washing my face because I'm so tired of wearing makeup. I'm like in that mood where I literally just want nothing on my face right now. So once I get all that editing done, all that stuff done, I'll probably wash my face, get into some PJs, and get cozy in bed for some reading tonight. Tomorrow, I don't remember off the top of my head if I have anything like important to do. So tomorrow we might be able to have like a whole lazy day of reading. The only thing that I do know that I have tomorrow are some reading sprints live streams at the end of the day. I recently switched the reading sprints from being Fridays to being Sundays so that every week we can have some weekend wind down reading sprints at the end of the weekend before we get back into our week on Mondays. So I know I have that tomorrow, but again, that's just like I get to yap with you guys and read, so that's not really too stressful, honestly. So I'm going to get my work done on my computer, and then I think I want to pick up People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young tonight. Ever since reading Out on a Limb and Out of the Woods, I literally have had this book in the back of my mind and I want to read it so bad. I just have really liked Hannah Bonham Young's writing, and I have really high hopes for this book, even though I am a little bit nervous because I feel like the reviews on this one are so mixed. Out of what I saw, I feel like people were either really disappointed in this and then it's like their least favorite Hannah Bonham Young book, or people really liked it. I have heard that this one is more spicy, faster than like a lot of her other books, so I'm interested to see my opinion on that because I feel like in romance I typically like when there's a lot more emotional buildup before we get into the spice. But also in Out on a Limb, there was literally spice in like the first 2 chapters, but then it was like you had to read another 80% of the book before anything happened again. And even then, the way that she wrote the spice, somehow the scene still felt like emotionally meaningful, which I was very impressed by because I feel like doing it that early on in the book and still having it feel meaningful is very hard, especially for like my taste, I guess. So I don't know. I have high hopes for this one. I'm really excited to get into it, and I feel like this sounds like the perfect vibe after I finish up some work, do dinner time, wash my face, and have just like a cozy little romance book by an author that I already know I love. So those are our reading plans, work plans for tonight. I will see you guys in just a little bit once I finally get all of my work done and it's finally time to sit down and cozy up with this book. Okay, that ended up taking so much longer than I was expecting it to, which I shouldn't be surprised because every single time I go to edit a video, I expect myself to be able to do it in like 30 minutes, and then it takes me like a minimum of 3 hours. It's currently 12:10. It took me around like 4 hours, but also I will say I was only planning on fully editing the one video and then making a thumbnail, and then I ended up also making 2 extra thumbnails, so then I had to go through the footage for those 2 videos and then like also make those thumbnails and export them and get those all set and everything. So I did do a couple of extra things. I just figured I would rather get it all done today so that tomorrow I can have just like a full reading day and not have any editing behind the scenes stuff to do. Like I literally just want to wake up tomorrow and then open a book, read all day long, and then at the end of the day have a little reading sprint. Like that just sounds like the perfect Sunday to me, to just be able to get to spend it all like filming and reading instead of like doing the like actual work stuff I feel like that goes into videos. So that's what I did. If you're curious, because every time that I watch other people's videos and they talk about like editing and all that stuff, I'm always like wondering what they were editing. So if you're curious, I just edited the bookish sleepover video and I made the thumbnail for that, and then I also made the thumbnail for Oh, okay. I got so confused for a second looking at my list. So I made the thumbnail for the bookish sleepover, edited that video, exported it, got it onto YouTube, scheduled it for tomorrow morning. And then I made the thumbnail for this video. That way, whenever I'm done with this video, it's just already done and made. And then I also made the thumbnail for Bookmas Day 10. So don't want to say what it is because it's a little surprise, but I did get the thumbnail done for that as well. So I'm feeling a lot better having all of that stuff done. I've washed my face. I have done my skincare. I'm looking like a glazed donut and I'm feeling amazing. So now all that's left to do is pick up people watching. Obviously, because it's now 12:10 p.m. I'm not going to get as much reading done tonight as I originally planned, but I'm honestly okay with it because I feel like tomorrow it will just be so nice to, like I said, like I can literally open my eyes and then just pick up the book and then start reading and relax all day long, and I'm so excited. So I'm going to pick up people watching. If I had to guess, I would say maybe I'll be able to get like 25-30 pages in before I fall asleep, because I'm honestly like I'm not feeling too tired right this second, but a lot of times like once it's 12 and then my head hits the pillow, my body's just like, and so I don't know. We'll see how far I'm able to get. I will update you guys in the morning. I really want to finish this weekend though. Like I really want to read this whole book this weekend, and I'm sure that I'll have a lot of time tomorrow, like I said. And then also I know that I have the reading sprints at the end of the day, and the reading sprints really help me to like stay focused on what I'm reading and not like have too many ADHD distractions because we're like all doing it together. I've loved doing the reading sprints because it's almost like a body double type of thing, like having you guys there. So anyway, I'm gonna stop yapping and get into people watching, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Happy Sunday. It is already 1:11. Today is literally flying by. So I actually realized this morning that I actually do have plans for today. So later today, the kids actually have a little like Christmas holiday performance thing at their school, and it's set to start like right when I was planning on doing my Sunday wind down reading sprints. So I ended up moving my reading sprints up to like the middle of the day. So I scheduled those for 1:30. So those are going to start in about 15 minutes. I've been sitting here getting all of my stuff ready to start that stream. So that's what I'm about to do, and I wanted to really quickly give you guys an update on people watching because last night I made it to chapter 5 actually. I actually ended up reading a little bit more than I was expecting to be able to. So I made it to page, I think that's 52 in this, and so far I'm really liking it. I feel like there's definitely like a really emotional level to this book because basically in the beginning we're introduced to our two main characters. We have Miles, who is our MMC, and we've gotten like a tiny little glimpse into his background. Basically he had like a really rough home life with what it seems to be like really unstable parents who like argued all the time, just like not a healthy household. And he and his 3 siblings are all kind of dealing with the trauma of growing up in that way in different ways, but they have all recently come together to be there for one of their siblings who has like called on them for help for something. We don't know exactly what it is quite yet, but as far as his side goes, we've been introduced to him, kind of given a little bit of his backstory, and we've also met a bunch of his siblings, and they've just come together in this small town. And his brother, who he's visiting in this small town, happens to be Prue's family's neighbors. So that's kind of like how they ended up meeting for the first time. They realized that they're going to be neighbors while he's in town. I think he's going to be in town for like a month or something. I'm not 100% sure on that. And then on Prue's side, who is our female main character, we're introduced to her, and basically on her end, her mom has early onset Alzheimer's, I believe, and that has been so sad to watch already. I mean, only 50 pages in, I feel like there have already been so many just like really emotional moments, or like the way that she talks about experiencing someone who is like losing themselves and like trying to continue loving the version of them that you know that they are, even though that's not like who they are anymore because they don't remember that version of themselves. Like that has just been so sad, but like so well written. I feel like she's encapsulating the feeling of that, and like you can just like viscerally feel the love and the loss so well through her writing. So I'm really enjoying that so far, but it's been like really sad to read about already. So I'm honestly a little bit scared to get farther into the book because I feel like this this is gonna have, I'm hoping, like a really emotional undertone. That's like one thing that I've really liked about Hannah Bonham Young's books so far, is that they have the ability to be like really deeply emotional while also being like really funny and lighthearted at moments, and also just like have really, really good romance where it's like such good emotional connections but also really good physical connections as well. And the way that she explores those physical connections, she does it in a way that doesn't necessarily feel like that's all it is. Like you can definitely sense the emotional importance behind all of like the physicalness of it all, which that to me is perfection. That's like what I want in books, because I love spice in books. I will say it a million times. I feel like it serves such a good purpose in like deepening the relationship between characters, but it has to be done in a way where there's like some sort of emotional significance, I feel like. So I'm really enjoying it so far. I've only made it 50 pages in, but again, I feel like in all the Hannah Bonham Young books that I've read, she has the ability to so quickly make me feel like I know the characters already. Like I'm only 50 pages in, but I feel like I have such a good grasp on like the characters' personalities and their backgrounds and kind of what makes them them. And I'm just really excited to get farther into the story and see kind of how things go. But so far I'm really, really liking the setup for the two main characters and like the dynamics that we're going into, and I'm excited to see what happens. Also, the MMC in this book is a little bisexual baddie, and I love to see it. I'm very excited to get farther into this. This is what I'm going to be reading on the live stream. I have about 13 minutes now until the live stream starts. So I'm just going to sit and read honestly until it's time to start the live stream, and then I'm going to hop on there. I'll probably be on live for like an hour or an hour and a half and hopefully get quite a bit of reading done. Sometimes I get on there and I just start yapping my little heart away though. So we'll have to see what the vibe is whenever I get on the live stream, but those are our plans for this morning. Today is absolutely flying by, but this is very typical weekend. I feel like whenever I'm not in the middle of like a really long reading vlog, especially Sundays, I like them to be kind of like my more chill day. I'll like do cleaning and reset for the week if I need to. This morning we literally just like laid in bed and hung out with the kids for a couple of hours before we even got up and got anything started. So just like a very chill day, and literally the only thing that's kind of throwing off my vibe is the fact that we have to like fully get the kids ready and then take them to their school for a whole performance, just because that wasn't like on my mental radar. So now it feels like it's so out of nowhere, but you gotta go with the flow, because sometimes these things happen and it's like, okay, no, we're going to a holiday performance. Everyone's got to get ready and we got to make it there on time. But I'm excited. The kids seem really excited to do their songs. I asked them like what songs they're doing. They both said they're gonna do Jingle Bells and like a few others, and they were like showing me that they've been practicing the words and everything. So it's gonna be so cute. These little things always make me cry. Like as soon as I see them on stage, I'm like literally sobbing like a crazy person in the audience. It's actually so funny. And it's so funny because Marky is the same way too. Like we went to Bowie's kindergarten graduation last year and both of us were trying to hold it together, and then we made eye contact with each other. We both just like started ugly crying and we could not stop. It's so funny. And I'm like sitting there with my phone like literally sobbing. It's so funny, but it's just like the most wholesome thing, and it's like partly nostalgic because like I remember doing things like that, and so part of it is like nostalgia, but then also part of it is just like I feel like in those milestones especially, those are moments where you just kind of like look back on all the years that have gone by so far in the kids' lives and like how old they're getting, and just like reminisce on everything. And it just it's all just so emotional, and I feel like you don't understand until you have kids, because I feel like when I was growing up and I would see the parents like being emotional in the audience and everything, I would think to myself like they're being so dramatic, like LOL, that's such a stereotype. But that's literally me now, and I feel like you don't understand until you're sitting there in that moment and like looking at your kid on stage, and just like you're just hit with a wave of emotion, and it's like so many different emotions all at once. But anyway, I'm very excited to go to their little holiday performance, but for now I'm gonna sit and read some of People Watching, go on the live stream, and then I will check in with you guys once the live stream is over and we'll see how far I'm able to get into People Watching, and then we'll continue to read until it's time to go to their little holiday show. It's been a few hours. Do you want to know the funniest thing? Right when we were getting ready to go, my sister called me and she was like, are you sure that the performance thing is today? Like maybe you should double check the date because it's kind of weird that it's on a Sunday. And I was like, you know, I thought it was weird too. But when I asked Marky about what it said specifically in the email, he said, no, it was today. So then I just, you know, took his word and we were gonna make sure to be there. So then while I was on the phone with her, I went to double check the date, and it is in fact in 4 days and not today. So we actually don't need to go to the performance. That means that I moved my reading sprint up technically for no reason, but it honestly kind of worked out. I honestly enjoy doing it kind of like midday instead, so I'm gonna kind of ask everyone over on the Patreon if they prefer to do it midday, and maybe I'll start doing it midday because it was kind of nice, honestly, doing it midday instead of at the end of the day. And with time zone differences, I feel like it might work out better doing it that way, like going forward. So we'll have to see about that. Also, I can't find my tripod, so we're a little shaky and like weird angle, but it's fine. To give you an update on people watching, I have made it to page 106, and you guys, I am so thoroughly enjoying this so far. The way that I literally was getting such intense butterflies, like literally could not stop smiling while I was reading it. The tension between these two characters is so palpable. Like their banter and their flirting is like just so perfect. I don't know what it is, but like Hannah Bonham Young, the way that she writes her banter is just so believable. Like it feels so realistic while still being like just so cute, honestly. Like I love them. I feel like they're bouncing perfectly off of each other, and I'm so excited to get farther into the book. I think it's gonna turn into kind of like a friends with benefits or like fake dating type of situation, so I'm very interested. I feel like I haven't read a fake dating romance in such a long time, and I used to really like those, so I'm really excited to see if that's kind of what it turns into. But I am just loving it so much. And like the MMC in this book, he is like an artist. Like he does like pencil sketches and stuff. Literally, after he met her for the first time, he was so enamored with her that he went home and sketched a drawing of her from memory. Excuse me while I pass out in the back of the room. Are you actually kidding me? And then the next time he saw her, he said something that like made her blush, and he was like, it's the most beautiful, perfect pink color. Like, and then he just starts daydreaming about being able to go home and mix up all the colors to make the perfect match to her blush specifically. Oh my god, it's just chef's kiss so far. I am having the best time, and I can't wait to read more of this. And it's kind of perfect because now we have no plans for tonight. So Marky is currently making dinner. I'm going to sit down and read quite a bit. We're going to have dinner, and then I will check in with you guys a little bit later. I'm literally just gonna sit and binge this because I am just having the best time. Like, I don't know how Hannah Bonham Young does it, but like all 3 of her books that I've read, I'm like 50 pages in, 75 pages in, and I'm like, I'm getting 5-star feelings. I don't know how she does it. Your Honor, is this illegal? This is literally insane. It's so good. I just love being in Hannah Bonham Young's world. I love her writing. I love her characters. I love her romance, her comedy, her banter. It's just perfect for me. It just works perfect for me, and I don't know what it is, but I'm not complaining. So I'm going to sit here. I'm going to binge people watching. I will see you guys later tonight for a little reading update. I'm assuming once I am much farther into the book, because all I want to do right now is get lost in this world because I am having the best time. For a little bit of a late night check-in. It's currently like midnight, and I've taken my makeup off, I've done my skincare, and I'm ready to sit down and just finish this book. I am literally having such a good time, and there are a few things that I want to talk about with this book because, first of all, I feel like when I was seeing like negative reviews specifically for this book, I feel like one of the main things that I was seeing is that a lot of people had a bone to pick with the fact that the male main character in this book is bisexual, obviously, and they felt like the only reason that that character trait was was included was to like harp on the fact that he was like a little bit of a man whore. Like he has a really high body count. He's like notorious for just doing like hookups basically. And I know that there was a lot of negative reviews where people were just like upset with that fact. However, I feel like the way that it's written, like for me personally, I feel like it has not come across that way at all. And the reason I say that is because I feel like the way that the characters are written, I feel like it fully warrants the way that both the MMC and the FMC have acted and like why their actions have led them to be like where they are. Because also obviously Rue, our female main character, is very innocent. Like she's never really hooked up with anyone before. She's very like inexperienced, especially compared to him. So a lot of people were like also having an issue with the fact that he's like been with so many people and then she's been with no one. But I just feel like the way that it's written, like it literally fully explains their backstories and everything, and I just feel like it completely justifies them being the two type of people that they are, where like for the male main character specifically, like his whole backstory and his whole build up, I feel like completely explains why he acted the way that he acted. Like the way that it's explained, it doesn't seem like he was just going around and hooking up with all these people for no reason. Like it was clearly a trauma response because he had all these feelings that he was not dealing with in a healthy way, and he was kind of like running away from his feelings. So for him, like hooking up with all these people kind of served as two things. Like one, a way to numb and distract himself from like the pain and emotion and feelings that he just didn't want to deal with. But then also two, obviously he had a lot of trauma from his childhood and like not having a loving home and not feeling loved and accepted and wanted. And so it seems like he also was kind of seeking that out as well in like all of these hookups and all of that stuff. And then for the female main character, she has never done anything before, and it's not necessarily like on purpose. I feel like her whole character arc was like she was waiting for the right moment, but then like life started happening. Obviously her mom right after high school developed Alzheimer's, and so her life kind of got taken over by that, and it became a thing where it's like, okay, I am not the priority right now. And so she kind of just stopped prioritizing her wants, her needs, her dreams, all of that stuff, to just like be more of a supporting role to the people around her, like to her family specifically. And like the whole thing with him being bisexual, I feel like it's put in here more so like it's just a part of him. Like it just feels like a very normal part of him, the same way that it would be in real life. Like I feel like people's sexualities do not completely define who they are, and so it doesn't necessarily need to be like this huge thing. It simply is just like part of who he is as a person. So like I feel like the whole thing was just written in a way that like it does make sense. Like yes, is it a little bit crazy to imagine like him being with all these people and her never being with anyone? Sure, but the way that it was written, I feel like she did it in a way that is one, very believable, and two, like it just seems not justified, but like I don't even know the right word for it. Like I feel like it does make sense. Like I feel like it makes sense, and there are like legitimate reasons that would have led them to being these two type of people. Like it doesn't necessarily feel like it was just put in there for the plot. Like it feels very warranted, I guess, is like the only word that I can think of. And so whenever I think about it, I'm like, okay, yeah, the premise of the book technically is like, okay, he's very experienced and he's gonna show her the ropes, and like they make this deal that he's gonna like teach her how to do everything. But then if you look underneath that, there's actually this whole like emotional layer underneath that premise where like them being friends with benefits is really forcing them to confront a lot of their issues that they either have been running from or haven't realized are issues. Like for him, it's really forcing him to open up emotionally and come face to face with a lot of the emotions that he's been running from for years, or just like been trying to become numb to, if that makes sense. And for her, it's really forcing her to step out of her comfort zone and learn to like voice what she wants, voice what she needs, like stand up for herself, make herself priority, and like all of this stuff. So I feel like it's more so like them being friends with benefits. Like obviously, yeah, like it's fun, it's hot, it's spicy, whatever, but like I feel like that's just a portion of it, where that is like kind of what is leading us into the emotional aspect, because like that's where they're meeting at. But then as they kind of grow to like know one another better and like develop feelings for each other, that is what leads to open the doors for all of the like really deeper emotional things that we're getting into in the book. And like in this book, there's just such good conversations on like grief and nostalgia. And what I thought was interesting about like the whole nostalgia thing too is I feel like in this book she talks a lot about like nostalgia in a sense that's both good and bad, which I never have really like, obviously I've thought about it, but I've never like put it into words before, where like sometimes you have nostalgic moments where you look back and it's like emotional because they're such happy memories. But then I feel like sometimes with childhood as well, I feel like there is such thing as like kind of a negative nostalgic feeling where you look back at times and you kind of grieve for your younger self because you look back in hindsight hindsight with like the eyes of an adult, and you just want to go back and like hug your younger self, because obviously at the time that you're like going through whatever you're going through, you have like the mind and emotions and intelligence of a child, and then looking back at it, it's like you have such clarity on a situation, and you kind of just like, you just grieve for your younger self. And I feel like that's not something that I really heard be talked about a lot, but that like made me really emotional, because I feel like that's a feeling that everyone has felt, where there's just something that you wish you could go back and like give your younger self a hug for, just like be there for your younger self, or tell your younger self that it's gonna be okay, it's gonna get better. So like that whole aspect of it, I feel like has been so emotional and so good. I feel like there's also such good conversations on like forgiveness and what it means to forgive, and how hard it can be to forgive somebody who you're still like actively internally hurt by, or you don't necessarily feel ready to forgive, but you want to forgive because you can feel the weight that it's holding on you, like holding on to all these negative feelings towards this person. And with forgiveness, I feel like this book shows such healthy like communication skills, and especially like the importance of having hard conversations. Like I feel like it highlights really well like the internal struggle of like trying to avoid all these conversations, and like how hard it genuinely is to get yourself to address hard topics and have really hard conversations. But then on the other end, it also shows like the benefit of pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone, and like why it is so good to have these hard conversations. Like I just feel like you get to see these characters and you get to know them so well, and so you really feel their emotions, and like going into these hard conversations, I feel like you can feel the discomfort that the main character is feeling during this conversation, just again because you have been inside their mind and you know how the character is feeling and how much they wanted to avoid this conversation. But then it's like so rewarding because you get to see that although the conversation was honestly as hard as they were expecting it to be, now that they've had this conversation, like look at all the positive outcomes because they had that conversation. And specifically in this book, it's like two of the male main characters are having a really like vulnerable and emotional conversation that they've both been avoiding for like years. And I feel like this is like such a healthy example of men showing their emotions, being vulnerable with each other. I don't know, it just felt like such a good example on like hard conversations, emotional vulnerability, forgiveness, all of that stuff. So that's why I'm like, the reviews that I've heard, I feel like I have not heard any of that at all. And I genuinely feel like this book has such a deeper emotional level than just the spice. Like, don't get me wrong, it is very spicy. I do think it is more spicy than her other two books that I've read, and it does get into the spice a little bit quicker. But again, I just feel like the spice is kind of like the platter that the emotions are being served on. And I feel like, I guess maybe if you're not looking for that, like maybe you could miss that and just take it at face value and like have the spice. But like if you look deeper into it, it's like I really do see how having this like super spicy plot line has made it to where all these really deeply emotional situations have been able to be uncovered, if that makes sense, which I think is really, really interesting. But I'm having such a good time. I love the FMC and the MMC in this book. One of the parts had me feral like a genuine wild animal. The way that he literally ran to her house in the middle of the night, and when he got there, he saw her, dropped to his knees because the sight of her was too much for him to bear, and crawled on his hands and knees across the room until he was in front of her. And then whenever he finally got there, she literally just looked up at him and said, "Why was that so hot?" I'm like, girl, same. Are you actually kidding me? I love them. I'm having such a good time. I feel like this is why I love Hannah Bonham Young books, because whenever I start one of her books, I know exactly what I'm gonna get. I'm gonna get a lot of emotional vulnerability and a really strong emotional undercurrent to the plot. I'm gonna get some of the best spice I feel like I have read in romance. I love the way that she writes spice. It's just chef's kiss. I'm gonna get amazing banter, amazing tension, some great comedy thrown in there. Like, her books actually genuinely make me unironically laugh out loud, which hardly ever happens, I feel like, for me. I'm having such a good time. The point in the book that I'm at, the third act, like, conflict, I guess, has just happened. And I will say, I feel like part of me feels like, okay, she's being like a little bit dramatic, but then whenever I put it into the perspective of like everything else that she also has going on, I'm like, no, I can't even fault her for being a little bit dramatic, because my emotions would be on 1000 and I would absolutely overreact in the same way that she's reacting. And I say that because it all could have been solved if she would have just stopped talking and actually listened to what he was trying to say. But she was so emotionally overwhelmed that she just kind of rambled off her feelings, jumped off the emotional cliff, and then said, you know what, I'm done talking about this, and sent him on his way without giving him a proper chance to fully explain himself. But I can't fault her. You know why? Because same. I would do that. So I'm very interested to see how things work out. I honestly don't want the book to be over. I'm gonna need to pick up Hannah Bonham Young's backlog immediately so that I have more Hannah Bonham Young books. I hope that she comes out with another book next year and every year after that, because clearly she is one of my favorite authors because I've loved every single one of her books that I read so far. But really quickly, I'm going to finish this book. I think I literally have like 30 pages left in this, so I'm going to really quickly finish up this book and then I'll give you guys my final rating on People Watching by Hannah Bonham Young. I just finished People Watching. It's gonna be a 5-star for me. It's gonna be another 5-star, which is actually crazy because that means every single Hannah Bonham Young book that I've read so far has been 5 stars. 3 out of 3. Safe to say, she is one of my favorite romance authors. She's going on my list with Tara DeWitt, Emily Henry. I'm loving it here. So my question for you guys is, out of her books on her backlog, I don't remember what they're called, but I think there's like 2 or 3. If you've read any of her backlog books, let me know which one you think I should read next, / if you liked those ones as much as the ones that she's recently published, because I'm gonna need more Hannah Bonham Young in my life. I love her books. This was so good. Literally everything that I was saying in my last update, repeated again, 5 stars. This was so good. But it is now, I don't know, like 1 something in the morning. I am so tired. Tomorrow is Monday, so we have an early morning, get the kids ready for school, get them off. I'm gonna be recording more BOOKMAS videos, so it is in fact time for me to go to bed. I hope you guys enjoyed this little vlog, spending the weekend with me. Honestly, this was a really fun vlog to film, just a cozy little weekend in my life reading vlog. So if you did enjoy this video and you have not already, make sure to subscribe before you go so you don't miss future content from me. Also, before we go, a really quick thank you to all my patrons over on my Patreon book club. If you're ever interested in joining the book club, the link is always down in my description box down below. If you're ever wanting extra content from me or reading sprints, live streams, anything like that, that is where you'll find all of that content. But with that being said, that's all I have for today's video. I hope you enjoyed and I will see you in the next one. Bye!